Wild racing at Unadilla. I mean, honestly, it was a GP track because of how hard packed and fast it was, with some gnarly holes here and there. And then just honestly, some just hard pack ruts every freaking where. And I really thought Prado was going to do better than what he did, because Tom Vial sure brought his experience from overseas to get him on the podium in the 250 class. I will talk about Joe. I will talk about Deegan. And I have to say this because there was just so much talk about the Phenom Jet. And don't get me wrong. Do not get me wrong. Jet is the perfect specimen of racing. But honestly, I'm kind of tired of hearing it at this point, and I kind of want to see somebody beat him. And who's better to beat him than his own freaking flesh and blood? Hunter. Hunter, we got a glimpse that he is starting to believe in himself, starting to make it to where he's like, you know what, little bro, I've beaten you before, because he's had to at his backyard track for how long they've been brothers their entire life, so he's had to have beaten him at some point. But there was glimpses that first moto. I know they have to have their chest protectors and everyone had hand guards. That roost was gnarly. I mean, he had Stewart even on the broadcast say, whoa, that was a gnarly rock. So I wonder if Hunter felt it and just backed up from there, but he charged, he attacked, and guess what happened? You had his brother, Jet, start making mistakes, going off the track, missing some lines, having the ass end slip out. Jet is good when he is not pressured and when he can slow down to ride 80%. But we've seen it with Tomac. We've seen it with AP. Now we see it with Hunter. If you can pressure in Supercross, you pressure him, he ends up making the mistakes. Maybe it's kind of the opposite of Sexton. Sexton rides so far over his head that he's going to make mistakes. Even when he's by himself, he makes mistakes. And it is kind of a bummer that he isn't there racing, because it would have made an interesting dynamic between everybody. And I still think that it was a PR deal with KTM to be like, oh, it wasn't the mechanic, it wasn't the bike, it wasn't even the rider that caused the crash. And I'm like, well, what was it? Was it the algorithm? Was it, the universe that did it? Anyway, I'm digressing. My point being is I've never been more of a fan of Hunter than I am right now. Dude, I know I've said it time and time again that I'd like to see him on a new team so that he can have whatever he's learned riding with his brother and not having his brother be the tester, because that's truthfully the dynamic of what is going on here. Is you've got Jet, you've got the Phenom, as they said it time and time again on the broadcast, which, by the way, congratulations. He's won. He's the champ. He's the dude. He's the greatest right now. We all know that. I love analyzing his videos because of how good he is. However, as far as just the fan in me, I want to see somebody come up and dethrone him, right? And I heard what he said on the podium with, it was hard to get his muscles to move again. If anyone's had ACL stuff, they know that after surgery, it's kind of scary because you can't flex your quad. And I mean, the rehab, all that stuff is something that I wish that we had more behind the scenes footage with the Netflix show and so much else, so that you could see what these guys go through. Like, heaven forbid we saw what Roxon went through with both of his effing arms. Now that would have made some damn good TV at Roxon's expense, because truthfully, Roxon shouldn't even be racing a motorcycle right now. He shouldn't even be moving his arms. And so for that, I've always been a Roxon fan. I've been a Roxon fan since he was 14, and I met him out at one of the private tracks here, and I watched him just haul ass on the sand track. I mean, I couldn't ride with him because I was injured. I was broken at the time, but anyway, long story short, digressing, because I like to say that word, is my general feeling is I want to see somebody beat Jet, and I want to see his brother. I want to see the confidence, like light a fire under this 25, is he 26? So that he can effing beat his brother. I want to see him. He pretty much proved that, hey, I can pressure you. I can run the pace. Dude, he got close. He checked up. He pushed himself to a 90 as opposed to exploding his brother. He kind of knew what was at stake, you know, what Lars and everybody's saying, like, hey, your brother's winning the championship. We want to win the championship, but no team orders. If you beat him, which everyone doesn't believe he's going to beat him, then all gloves are off. But that's why I want to see him on a different team. I want to see him push his brother, not as a teammate. I want to see him push his brother, like break check him, you know, stand him up a little bit, not rough him up. Yeah, maybe rough him up a little bit. Do the big brother thing and show what he's got, because the kryptonite to freaking Jet is what Sexton did last weekend at Ironman. Is you run with him, you block him, you make him think like, oh man, I can't really get around you right away. I guess I might have to just fold it in, you know, or if he's out front and you push him around, he may make a mistake. Okay. This is the categories of the stewards, and then where you kind of just wait for them to make a mistake. But if you can force them into it, it's all gloves are off. Like, that's good for you. And it is cool to see Hunter finally believing in himself on stuff. But the dynamic on that team is, I'm almost certain, is that, hey, little bro, you go test out this new stuff, this new setting, and let me know what it looks like. Dude, because Hunter is an amazing tester, dude. Those motorcycles are working so fucking well. Man, you watch them, and they're just floating around stuff. Everyone else is trying to chase what HRC Honda has. Nothing against how talented Hunter and Jet are. I mean, Hunter has definitely become a better rider working with Jet. But if you're going to beat him, you can't work with him. You can't be the tester for him. Okay? This is the second tier deal. Like, no, because then you get stuck in that. I mean, I talked with Emick about it, and Emick's like, yeah, when you get, this is his 11th second place finish of the season. Okay? He finally had a win. And I think he needs to build off of this, because last weekend that win was sort of diluted and asterisk because of what happened with Sexton, and then the dock of one lap for Jet. So it was kind of like, hey, you won, but did you really win? You know, at least that's what you end up thinking. That's what everyone was thinking. I'm sure he was probably thinking a little bit, but he proved that, hey, no, I want to win legit. And he got so damn close because Sekimoto breaks the tie. So come on, I want to see Hunter straight up beat his brother. Okay, and I kind of think we might have to wait until he gets on another team to do that. But will that ever happen? Probably not. So the next best thing is, hey, figure out how to go faster, a little bit of strategy, and push your brother. But in this scenario, he couldn't really push his brother so much because the championship was on the line. That's all good, okay? But from what I saw, Hunter can run the pace. And when Hunter gets a little squirrely, he's stronger. He's stronger than his little brother. When Jet gets a little squirrely, that's when stuff gets interesting. But top speed, top phenom, generational talent has got Hunter and the rest of the field beat. Okay, so now if I move on, well, I can't really, you know, Kenny comes out here, 4th place in qualifying, and then ends up that second moto taking his hand off. Like, I'm like, dude, this is going to be so bad if he ends up injured, because I want to see a piss yellow Suzuki out front at SMX. It's going to be a problem. And like Malkarat started racing again. It's all because of these silly points for the SMX stuff. But I am interested in what the lap times were with Joe. Because if I move to, I mean, okay, claps for RJ. RJ winning about half the moto and then putting it on the ground. The dude is better on a 450. We kind of knew he's better on a 450 because a 450 kind of forces you to slow down a little bit. That 250, he always overrode the 250. He rode way back on the bike and ended up looping out here and there. On the 450, the mistakes aren't as much, and he's heavier. So it's just a perfect dynamic. I really like seeing RJ on the 450. Tomac is not sick anymore, so we were able to see him push and go 3-3. That's great for Tomac, but the two Hondas, better setup. And also, they're just running a little bit better right now. So what else can you say there? Okay, and I have to share my screen here for trying to get these lap times on. I know the live show, typically I am trying to, oh crap. Here, I got to move this down. I should have had this, but I was so excited to start the live show that I didn't really end up talking about it first. But okay, so Joe is a 219. Okay, and can I just copy this and go back? Come on, where's the 450s? Live timing results. Dude. Okay. Here we go. 450 Moto 1, same moto. So remember, Joe was doing the 219. Okay. Jet 217, Hunter 217, Eli 217, RJ 218, Ken Roxon 220. Okay. So as fast as Joe was going, it would have only been good enough for the 5th fastest lap time in the 450 class, which is freaking crazy to think about. And truthfully, I kind of think that the 250s had a better track. You might argue that they broke it in for the 450 guys, but okay, just to prove my point, let me just go to the second motos. Okay. I haven't really looked at this. We're looking at this live. So good. Joe Shimoto 221. Woo, 221 shows you that the track slowed down by 5 seconds. Did it do it for the 450s? Okay. Worst thing of the track, 218. And look, okay, that was lap 3 when he was being pushed by his brother Hunter. Then Hunter lap 5, 218.7. Yeah, it's a half a second slower. And then Eli Tomac with a 218.6. Justin Cooper with a 219. So it would have still only been good for about 5th place. But still, this is why the headline of my thumbnail is we're not going to see Deegan on a 450. I was really hoping that this was just one of those meta militia ploys that was like, hey, the team gave him the go-ahead, but it's not really the go-ahead for Deegs because he wants to focus on the championship, but we have every intention to put his ass on a 450 to just go clean out Jet in Budds Creek. Not really, but would be sick to see. Because, there's nothing on the line. They both won the championships. But no, we are not going to get the privy of seeing that because the young man does not have a 50-point lead. He's now 43, 42 points, something like that. I think it's 43. I think he lost like 8 points. So he's got to race and he's got to basically finish. And so what happened this weekend with him getting a bad start in that second moto, and I think he was just nervous. Right? Like there's a big championship bonus. Okay. I'm sure in their contract, his dad is no dummy. They have made it to where if my son effing wins the championship, he is going to bring home a check. Okay. So that kind of takes precedent rather than this whole ideology that I'm going to get on a 450 and kick Jet's ass. Okay. Yes. In a perfect world, that's what we all want to see. But in reality, business is business. And that's what he did. The little shit went out there and performed it what he needed to do. He was a businessman. He's like, hey, I'm going to go get what was it? Second and third. Did an amazing job coming from out of the top 10 to third in the second moto. Rode well, didn't crash. Put it together, and I wouldn't be surprised if we see him get on a podium next weekend. I don't think there's going to be any Flava Flav going on, but I do think that he's probably going to ride hard, but within his means, which is pretty much a podium position for him, because when you ride against the guys of the likes of Tom and Levi Kitchen and all the Cowie guys, he's just right there. Third is a perfect spot for him to be in. He's not going to be this champion that phones it in and finishes 15th because he's so nervous about everything. No, he's still going to go out there and perform because, hey, as far as a businessman, what do? Podium still gets a bonus. So might as well ice it a little bit because we all know that Deegs likes cars and he likes all the chains. I mean, even we saw Jet wearing his like $50,000 chain around, and I'm like, that's a little crazy to be having that around your neck when you're racing moto. But who am I to judge? I got a bunch of money stolen from me if you watch the Gypsy deal. So I'm pretty ignorant too when it comes to stuff. Not implying that Jet is ignorant by any means. This is where I'm digging a hole. We're just going to go on with, he won the championship. He's good. We want his brother to beat him. And as far as Deegs, he kind of just phoned it in at Unadilla, and phoning it in was good enough for third place. Tom Vial was the European that rode well with the GP tracks. He's just smooth. Prado, I am still blown away at his 5th place finish in Ironman, to run up front here to then just phone it in. And I don't think he's happy. I don't think it's happy. I think it's a combination of he just doesn't fit well on the Kawasaki. Guys, like, you got to be happy where you're at. Talking with Emick, if you watch my podcast, like, it's so mental. And if a home doesn't fit well with you, because a home is not where you're at, it's who you're with. And if he doesn't gel with the team, well, that's going to make it difficult for him to perform. Is he homesick? There's something else going on here. And I definitely think it's the bike, but I don't think that he is in the best environment for him to succeed. Plain and simple, Prado is somewhat phoning it in now. Okay. If you just don't have that fire, you're not going to charge for 30 minutes. Like, what's the point? We've all been there before, where at some time you just end up phoning it in. And there's not much else to say. But my homeboy Cole Davies, he crashed. Some of the guys from one of the AEO teams, manager, sent me a video of him crashing in practice and in qualifying, and he was trying to hang with Deegs. There's a lot of pressure on Davies, and this kind of is what unraveled, okay, with him kind of being right around the 20th to outside the top 20, and where they've got their other teammate, Dundee, I want to say, forgive me if I say it wrong, but there's a lot of talent on there. There's a lot of pressure. Star Yamaha is the new pro circuit. Pro circuit used to be the place where you go to launch your career or to watch your career die, because if you can't make it at pro circuit, nobody else is going to have you. Now Star Yamaha and Bobby Regan and those boys are making it the same thing. Like, we're going to just hire every talented SOB here. And if they can't make it, well, now you're on the satellite Phoenix Honda type level of support, to where, and then, you just whittle away and you don't have the best bike, because if you can't win on the best bike, we'll find somebody that can. Because when it comes to the 250 class, it is definitely the Star Yamaha that still has stuff, even though there is a transition with Joe Shimoda. With him winning by 40 seconds was pretty damn impressive. I like to see Joe do that. But you know what happened with Joe? Joe wasn't pressured by Deegs. What happened in Ironman when he caught him? Okay. Deegs wasn't faster than him, ended up fitness-wise catching him, blocking him, stopping him, looking back at him, and then going. What happened to him at Millville? Okay. Caught him, then finish line, shot him, even when he was injured or recovering or had the hematoma on his leg. Now, Joe, just ran away, and nobody was trying to chase him. Okay. Tom Vial was trying to chase him, but Deegs let him go. That's just what I'm saying, is he wanted to have this paycheck. Okay. And the title, because nobody cares that you raced a 450 at the final round. Everyone is going to care how many 250 championships you won. I mean, to this day, we always see the results by Stewart and Carmichael and Chad Reed and Dungy, all these guys, and you just are blown away at the stats of this. Okay, this is something that is going to last much longer than Deegan's career, is by how many championships and what point he is. And because of the new rule with pointing out and everything, James Stewart pretty much has it in the bag as far as most motocross wins and everything in the 125 class, because you're no longer able to stay in the class for forever. Or Mike Brown it, where you're in there for 40 effing years, so that is a change of the guard. But for him racing a 450 ain't going to happen. Okay. And yes, I said ain't. I said it ain't gonna happen right now until next summer. Okay. Which is a bummer. I wanted to see this happen. So part of me just really wanted to see him catch Joe, not put him on the ground, but just make sure that he won, so that we could see him on the Star Yamaha and race with his teammates of Justin Cooper and Eli Tomac, and kind of see where he is going to stack. Right? Not so much if he's going to beat Jet, because I think it's an improbable thing. I'm trying to say your first race out that you're going to come and beat Jet. And really, there's no pressure. So I don't think Jet's really going to come out here and have really any reason to try to ride over his head. So this last race going into the finale, my bet is on Hunter. As much as of an underdog as I say, Hunter, do it for the homeboys, do it for the YouTubers, do it for the fans. Okay. Your brother already cashed the $1 million check. He's got the $22 million contract. What is for you? Well, you, my friend, are going to go 1-1 next weekend. Whole shot to finish. Let's effing see it. Okay. That is the live show for right now. There's a lot of comments going off here. I haven't had a chance to look at them, but thanks for staying with me. Make sure you hit that subscribe button. We should have Styles on the podcast tomorrow. I want to talk to him about his retirement and everything, but his schedule is a little funky, so we might not see it. And then I've got Andrew Short lined up for the week after that. So make sure you guys are paying attention to that. And then also I got bunch of notes here on my iPad while I was riding my bicycle, go, no, watching the race. And even Sprocket is with me. So I don't know if he'll make the other analysis show, but anyway, I'm more digressing. You guys enjoy your evening. I'm going to go take the fam to a movie and dinner. And because I'm having a baby in a couple weeks. So, that's why I'm staying local here. But anyway, I'm being too unfiltered, but that's what this is. This is MX Unfiltered. Till next time, keep it WFO.